The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a brand new week. It's a Monday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we certainly thank them for their constant support and sponsorship of Running Point since day one of the show's birth. They've never missed a beat, and we've been with them all along, and we can't wait to continue this journey with Greenwood Chevrolet, our presenting sponsor. We thank them, as always, for their support. Got a very good show for you guys today. We are going to, of course, recap all the great action that happened since we last talked on Friday afternoon. A lot of stuff going down, but we're also going to get a player profile featured. It's going to be with Zoe Sanders, the goalie of the West Branch girls soccer team. Has the program record for career shutouts, excuse me. I am going to have to go correct that post because it's actually career shutouts. Career shutouts at West Branch, 20 now. 20 shutouts in her career as a goalie. She has that record, and we're going to feature an interview with her a little bit later on in the show. But first, let's get into the recaps of the weekend's action and bring up the scoreboard, which is always brought to you by Burnett Pool, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Let's bring it up full screen and see what we had going for us on Friday night. Of course, Hoban is dominant as ever. They take down St. Ignatius. Final score 35-0. This is the St. Ignatius team that Austintown Fitch had to go to double overtime to beat, and Austintown Fitch is a very good team. So this kind of is a good measuring stick for you guys on how good Archbishop Hoban is at football this year. They are mean. They are very motivated because they obviously got to the state championship last year, fell short in that game. So you've seen that kind of team all year. And, you know, the funny thing is about this team is none of their games have been like super fast starts. You look at this one, it was 7-0 after one quarter. A couple other games they were close, but man, a second half football team for sure. They are so big, they are so physical, they are so strong. They just wear down teams. Like, you can stick with them for maybe a quarter, maybe a half. We've seen a team have like a 7-point deficit at halftime, but eventually it's like the dams just break and you can't hold back this Knights team anymore, and they just flood you with precision. The one thing I love about this team is they don't ever let you off the hook when you make a mistake, whether it be a turnover, whether it be just a misread on defense, whatever it may be. You make a small error against Archbishop Hoban, they are a team that will absolutely see that opening and just run straight into it. So these Knights are not something to be messed with as they continue their dominant ways, 35-0 over a very good St. Ignatius team that has had just about enough of the YSN family because we're 2-0 against them now. We go to the next one. It is McDonald and Jackson Milton, another tough one for the Blue Devils as Jackson Milton gets the win 28-21. I love the last drive of the game. You know, McDonald's in a position where if they get a 3 and out, they can get the ball back for a chance to score. But Jackson Milton makes some very clutch plays to hold on to that ball and to be able to run the clock the rest of the way out. Very impressive 2-minute drill for Jackson Milton to hold on to that ball and to not give McDonald the ball back. They got to knee the clock out to end the game with a 7-point lead. And plays down the stretch like that are what make teams really great. And this week, it was Jackson Milton that made those game-winning plays down the stretch. Props to them. Garrettsville Garfield, that is, 64-0. They just take what Champion brings and they just put it right back out there. And there's no room for error if you're playing Garrettsville Garfield this year. They look so strong. Keegan Sell, another great day for him. Eric Geddes is a guy that I think is overshadowed by Keegan Sell's dominance, and never want to do that because Eric Geddes is really a really good football player and he runs that offense as quarterback. So 2 great players there for Garfield, along with a great offensive line. They're just dominant this year. They haven't even been sweating in these games. They haven't had a close game yet. They've been rolling over everybody, and Garfield continues their warpath with that 64-0 win over Champion. We're going to do these first 3 columns, and then we'll scroll over and get the last one. So let's drop down to Niles. This was so impressive. Lakeview just came off of a very close game against South Range. I don't know what happened this week. I don't know if there was emotional drop-off from being so close to beating the Raiders and not being able to finish, that this week just the preparation wasn't there, or maybe Niles is this good. Either way, the Dragons just absolutely dominate this game. 31-0, the final score. Gardner, once again, one of the most dominant backs, not just in the NE8, but in the Ysn family. He ran all over the field. He had over 250 yards for Niles. Just a big performance for the Dragons, and they get the big win in the NE8 against a team that I thought was going to be competitive with them. Proves me wrong. 31-0, all Dragons in this one. Southern Local and United. Talk about this game. This is one of those games that was very deceiving score-wise because this was a close game in the fourth quarter. United scores 3 touchdowns in the final 4 minutes of the game, and they win 35-14. That's insane. As the last second burst for United makes this a lopsided affair, and it's a big win in the EOAC for the Eagles. We move on. LeBray, roller coaster season continues. They have looked good at times. They have looked not good at times. This week was a good time. They take a Newton Falls team coming really high off a win over Camel. They scored 45 points last week. This week, LeBray's defense holds them to 7. Big defensive performance by LeBray, and then their offense was able to do everything they wanted. 41-7, all Vikings as they go on the road and beat a very hot Tigers team in dominating fashion. Good work by LeBray. Strange things were happening in Wellsville. If you weren't watching that game, half the stadium lights went down midway through. They had the lengthy delay with the lights, and then eventually it was final. 14-0. Tigers get the win over Latonia. Poland, they smashed Hubbard 53-0. As, of course, Dom Pagano, who's having a great season, had another great game. He was responsible for 3 touchdowns. Cole Fulton had a touchdown as well for Poland. All on the ground. They are just a fearsome team, especially up front inside the trenches. Canfield with a big win over Cheney, 35-14. The final score there. Canfield dominates the Cowboys, and this Cowboys defense had been really rock solid especially last 2 weeks, but Canfield solve that puzzle, and once they did, Cheney's offense just wasn't strong enough to keep up with a shootout. And I said that in the preview on Friday, like Cheney can't get into shootouts. Their offense isn't there. Their offensive line, I think, is the one that is just having trouble protecting the quarterback. I've seen Drew Galt run for his life, and he's such an athlete that he makes plays, but they're just not giving him enough time to run a very cohesive offense. So Cheney definitely has troubles when they get into an offensive shootout, and Canfield runs away with this one. They needed this win, 35-14 final score there. Salem, they fall to Padua Franciscan. They're starting to put things together, though. This was a good game. They competed well. 39-21. I think Salem will definitely get a couple of wins before the season is over. West Branch all over Howland, 49-0. Bo Alazas continues to be impressive this season. I was on him from the jump. I said, I think this kid's going to be great. I think he's going to be the same that we saw from Drew DeShields when he stepped into the varsity role after Brock Hilliard left. And everyone was saying, what's West Branch going to look like without Brock Hilliard? Then Drew DeShields raises his hand and says, hey, I'm here. And I think Bo Alazas is just the same kind of athlete that is just absolutely taking the reins of this West Branch team. Jeremiah Thomas had a big game, 11 receptions for him, a couple of touchdowns. And then Joey Jackson is also a great target for him as well. So West Branch dominates in this one, 49-0, the final score there. Middle Ridge wins over Waterloo, big one for them, 42-12. Middle Ridge gets the win, the bounce back victory for the Rams. Vikings they played a good team in the wrong spot of the season. This one was the thriller of the night, probably. Brookfield and Liberty go into overtime. These two teams are so evenly matched. Brookfield has the guts, and I'm not shocked at all to go for two in the first overtime when they scored. They didn't have to, and they scored first. They definitely didn't have to go for two. They did. Liberty answered, scored, and it came down to a 2-point conversion. It was a power run up the middle. Brookfield was there and stopped them by about half a yard, and that's all they wrote. Brookfield gets to stand in OT on a 2-point conversion. 41-39, the final score. A big win for the Warriors, a heartbreaking one for Liberty. They can't afford too many more losses with how tough their schedule is going to be going forward. This was a game I felt like they had to find a way to win. Excuse me. Liberty didn't have a good non-conference slate. They needed to find these wins in the conference games. And this is a game that they could win. They were on paper. They were as good as Brookfield was. And they they needed to come out victorious to kind of get some momentum and carry it into the rest of league play, but it didn't work out that way. Brookfield stops them on the goal line and gets the win in overtime. Noah Ricks had a great call, by the way, on this one, so I want to give him a shout out as well. A great call in Liberty from Mr. Noah Ricks. No surprise there. Columbiana gets the first win of the season on their end. They go on the road. They beat Lisbon in a close one. 28-21. This is so good for Columbiana because they finally win a close game. They are probably the best one-win team in the Ysn family. I know that's not saying much because you never want to be a one-win team, but they have had so many close losses where they just couldn't make those game-winning plays down the stretch. This time they turn around, they turn the tables, they make the game-winning plays, they make the plays that it takes, and they get the win 28-21. Gotta feel good in that Clippers locker room to know that they're capable of that. Jefferson has a tough time with Lutheran West, 42-13, the final score there. Falcons fall to Lutheran West. Lakeside also has a tough time with West Geauga, 38-12, the final score. Dragons can't escape the Wolverines. A thriller in Struthers, South Rage and Wildcats trying to assert NEA dominance. The Raiders fell behind with about 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, 33-30, but they drove right down the field. Blake Ewert was critical in that drive, running hard, finding holes, and the Raiders scored with about 20 seconds left, 37-33. They escaped Struthers with the win. They are still undefeated in the league, and they're looking for a big matchup with Poland in week 6, which everybody's going to be talking about all week long. What people should be talking about is what's going down in East Palestine. They came very close to upsetting first place Valley Christian, and this is a game where I think a lot of people just wrote off as it's going to be a 56-0 pounding, and Valley's going to get in, get out, and we'll go on to the next week. And man, East Palestine had other words to say. They were down 20-0. They came back. They scored twice in a row, 20-13. They had other opportunities to score as well. I mean, they were really moving the ball against Valley Christian. And then 20-13, but hey, Jay Sean Lindsay, He had a monster drive when East Palestine made the one-score game. He punches it in for the touchdown to cap off that drive. His only score of the day, but he had plenty of yardage. As Valley Christian gets that score, goes for two, makes it, and at that point it was pretty much locked up, 28-13. A lot closer than people expected, but Valley Christian does escape East Palestine with the win, and they can move on to the next week. That's what you have to do in football, right? You survive in advance. Ugly wins are still wins. And some coaches would argue there's no such thing as an ugly win. If you win, it's beautiful. You just have to learn from it. So Valley Christian is going to take the mistakes they made. There was a lot of procedure penalties, a lot of holding penalties that got Valley Christian way behind the chains, and they couldn't escape some of those drives. That's why a lot of their drives really stalled, especially in that second half when East Palestine made a comeback attempt. There were a lot of drives where penalties were getting them from behind the sticks. So that's a props to East Palestine's defensive line making the moves that Valley Christian had to hold to stop them, but also something that the Eagles have to clean up going forward because the EOAC has some very talented teams that are going to take advantage of those mistakes a lot more if they make them against a Southern or a United. We go to Crestview. They get the first win of the season, 44-20. Final score over Camel Memorial. Congratulations to the Rebels. Fitch dominating over Stowe, 41-0. Final score there. Stowe Monroe Falls not ready for the Falcons offense at all. Another overtime game. Grand Valley walks it off with a touchdown, 20-14 over Wycliffe in overtime. Big win for the Mustangs, and they storm the field, which is awesome to see in high school football. The excitement and the exhilaration of a win. East Liverpool, a tough 2 weeks for them. They fell to Beaver Local. They fall this week to Harrison Central. Final score 37-19. They'll have to make some adjustments as they get ready for Edison, who is undefeated still, 42-14. They beat Akron North, and it's excuse me, I'm kind of tickled today, but it's going to be a big game between the Potters and the Wildcats. When Wildcats are undefeated, Potters come in, they need a win badly. These two teams are rivals. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next week when the Wildcats play the Potters. The Battle of the East go to Akron East, 20-8 over Youngstown East. They get the win. So now we'll go into the last row. We'll scroll over. Hey, it worked smoothly this time. Happy Monday. I may have spoken. Oh, I got it. Here we go. Now we got it. Beaver Local. They get the win, 53-26 over Union Local Austin Klein. Another big game. Can't talk highly enough about what he's able to do with his Beaver Local offense in the third year that he's run the offense. He's doing a really good job after that first week loss. They are still rolling. Mobile falls to Western Reserve. That's two close wins in a row for the Blue Devils, 21-14. They beat the Rockets. That'll make waves inside the MVAC going forward. Girard bounces back big time with a 42-6 smacking of Pymatuning Valley at Arrowhead Stadium. So now they are 3-2 on the year. That is not a typo. Springfield goes to Matthews and wins 71-0 over the Mustangs. That is the most offense we've seen out of a YSN family school so far this season. The Tigers have no mercy down in Matthews. Wyndham gets a win, 29-6 over St. Thomas Aquinas. A big win for the Bombers there. We have Ursuline. They smack Warren Harding 56-20. This Ursuline team looks different. I'm telling you, they're rolling on all cylinders. Jack Erickson is having a heck of a season. A little bit under the radar maybe because some other players are also putting up big numbers, getting talked about a lot. But Ursuline's just quietly taking names and dominating teams and just kind of riding those waves. And eventually they're gonna keep these receipts of people not talking about them. Because I haven't heard Ursuline's name pop up a lot. I haven't heard him pop up a lot in the media so far and when talking about football. Not on here, of course. YSN, we love our Ysn Irish, and we will talk about them for days. But media outside of the YSN family, not too talkative about Ursuline so far. Riverside, they beat up Boardman 52-21, the final score there. The Beavers come in and get the win over the Spartans, and then Sebring falls to St. Mary Central Catholic 40-6 in 8-man football, the final score there. We had action on Saturday as well, so let's hop on to Saturday's scoreboard, see what was going on with the volleyball, the soccer, the football, all sports in action here. We'll start with volleyball. It was Wyndham that had a tri-match, fell to Rootstown 2-0. They also fell to LeBray 2-0. LeBray wins the tri-match with the win over Rootstown in 2 sets, so congratulations to LeBray, a big bounce back after falling to Crestview on Thursday. Hoban sweeps Fitch. The first set was very close, and it felt like maybe if Fitch wins that one, they can carry momentum. But after that first set, the next two got more and more dominant as the Knights win in straight sets. Middle Ridge caps off an amazing week where they beat a slew of very good volleyball teams. These are their wins: Austintown Fitch, Springfield, Western Reserve, and West Branch. A monster week for the Rams. They sweep the Warriors in dominating fashion. They'll have Crestview tonight. Can they stay hot, or are the Rebels going to silence the Rams? It'll be interesting to see. Beaver Local, they sweep Cambridge 3-0. The final score there. South Range hosts Grand Valley. They get the win 3-0. I was there for this one. One of the things that I liked seeing from South Range is how balanced their offense was. When I went, and the last time I saw them was Girard. And they took a set from Girard, mind you. But it felt like their offense in that particular night was heavily geared towards Anatoly, who was putting it down, who was really well-rounded. But this offense not last night, Saturday, I should say, was a very balanced attack. Both setters, Hayden Carey and Sarah Coons, were doing a really good job spreading the ball around. Anatoly led with 10 kills, but then you had Olivia Melly and Maddie Mook both with 6. So you really had a balanced offense. Maddie Dado had a couple plus a couple of blocks. So you really had a well-balanced offense. They even got to the right side and got Krumbacher involved a little bit as well. So I really like what I'm seeing from this South Range team. They went 4-0 on the week, and they cap it off with the sweep over Grand Valley. Now they continue into this week and see what they can do. Is they still had the second half of the NE8 play. Most of the second half. They started it off last Thursday. They've played Niles twice, but everybody else they still have to play again as we go into the week. Waterloo swept Latonia 3-0. The final score there. That does it for volleyball recaps. We go into football, and we see that Cardinal Mooney had no problems at all with Lutheran East 42-0. Final score there. Mooney gets the big win. And then Warren JFK falls to a Marlington team that is well improved from a couple of years, irrelevant for the Dukes. They have come off. They are 4-1 now after the win over Warren JFK. 49-7. Marlington dominates the Eagles in that one. Girls soccer, Salem gets 5 goals from Riley Hutton, and they win 5-1 over Hubbard. Austintown Fitch falls to Glen Oak 6-0. Archbishop Hoban gets the win over CVCA 2-1. The boys cap off that doubleheader with a win over CVCA by the same score, 2-1. So take a breath. Ooh, it's a lot to recap. And that'll do it for our recap. We're going to take a break on Running Point. When we come back, we will feature an interview, a player profile interview with West Branch goalie Zoe Sanders. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on
the solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
I got caught. That's my bad. I was texting our GM Quinn. But thank you so much to Greenwood Chevrolet and all of our sponsors that you just heard from. Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet. They go the extra mile for you. And what we're going to do here as we hit the second half of the show, we're going to feature a really good player profile interview. I really enjoyed this one. Zoe Sanders, the West Branch goalie, who has been pivotal in West Branch's success, not just this season, but the last four. And even, West Branch has been good for years. They're going for, I believe, their 10th straight EBC championship. And they're going to try to get past Canfield this year in districts, those two teams on a collision path. And I'm excited for that. Let's hear from Zoe Sanders, the goalie of West Branch, has the career record for shutouts in West Branch's program with 20 now on the career. So here's Zoe Sanders from West Branch. Anthony Hartwig here with a West Branch girls soccer player profile. I am joined by senior goalie Zoe Sanders. Zoe, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our first question for goalies, every time we bring a goalie on, is just the special mindset it takes to be a goalkeeper. How did you develop it, and how did you kind of grow into being such a good goalie? Because it's not a position for everybody.
So I've actually been a defender like almost my whole life. And sophomore year, our goalkeeper got injured, and my coach was like, "Hey, we know you play volleyball. Can you be our keeper?" And I was like, "You're crazy. I could never." And my coach was like, "I think you just got to go out and try it for today." I was like, "Okay." I went out. They were like, "Wow, you're tall." And it just kind of fit the whole athleticism of being quick and tall and being able to jump high. And my coaches, they are the best out there. They've just helped me these past 3 years now become what I am. And they trained me through all of it. But the mindset thing of it is kind of hard. You have to go out in a goal and be ready to just put your body on the line and go for everything. And that took a little bit to get used to, just, running out there and trying to stop everything and anything. But it was a lot of fun, and I am addicted to being a goalkeeper now. But
obviously, your teammate's goal is to never let this happen. But inevitably in a soccer game, there's going to be breakaways every now and then where it's just one player against a goalie, and it's can you make the right choice? Take us through that mindset of when that's happening, when you start to see that develop and you think, okay, it's go time. I have to be locked in and try to stop this ball from getting into the net.
So my center backs are Sam Conville and Ellie Tucker, and they are both so quick. Normally I think I've only had one this season so far, and it wasn't anything crazy, but you see them coming down the field, and Sam normally steps and Ellie holds back a little bit. And then, say they do get beat as they're running down the field, you have to make the decision whether, you're going to stay and wait for them to get closer, or if you're just going to attack and try to go out and get it. And normally I don't like to stay back. I kind of like to go at it because make the goal smaller, hit them hard and fast, and just go out and grab that ball.
The other thing that gives goalies a lot of publicity during soccer is penalty kicks. Obviously, it's how you decide a game. It's how the most exciting part of soccer or whatever it may be. What's your strategy? Because it's really a guessing game. So what's your penalty kick strategy on how to get a save?
So being a taller, bigger goalkeeper, I kind of just try to go into the middle and make them think I'm centered and then kind of shift to one side. And then when they go to run, try to just see where their foot's going and then just commit to that one way.
Let's talk about your senior season. Obviously, this is your last year with West Branch, and senior seasons bring a lot of emotions. You know, it's your last home game. It's your last time against this team. It's eventually your last game, your senior night. How are you handling all the emotions that come with senior year and all the laughs that you have to go through?
I'm really just kind of embracing it. We have a really good group of girls this year that I think will leave and they'll be ready for next year. It's a little hard because I've gotten close to some freshmen this year and it's like, darn, like we only get together. But it's an emotional, like, just a ride in general because, you know, we went to the Field Classic and it's like, wow, I'm never going to play in this again. And I've done it for the past 3 years. And then, you know, you're playing teams in your conference that you're never going to play again. And it's hard getting close. I think we have like 12 like full season games left. So it's kind of like, you know, counting down, but it's a blast. I'm glad I get to do it with these girls. Like they are just beyond anything I would have ever thought. It's just a really good group of girls to do it with.
Already talking to one of your senior teammates, Aubriana, and we find out that it's a big senior class this year. You have a lot of seniors that you're going through this with. What's it like to be a part of kind of a big group of seniors where the whole leadership responsibility doesn't all fall on your shoulders?
It's crazy because there's 11 of us and it's going to be crazy on our senior night. Every single one of us starts, but it's crazy because a lot of these seniors, we've all played together since, you know, the 6th grade. And it's a lot of leadership put on us because we're trying to get these younger girls ready because when we leave, they do have a big gap to fill since there is so many of us and a lot of positions they're going to have to take over. So there's a little bit of pressure of getting them ready and, you know, making sure they understand what they're coming into.
With 11 seniors, how do you divvy up leadership responsibility? You know, what kind of leader do you think that you exemplify, and how do you kind of make sure that every one of those seniors' voice is heard and they're all one of the big members of the team and they all can bring leadership qualities into the soccer field?
So our coach actually does a really good job. She is very good about like at the beginning, like preseason, kind of divvied up jobs to each player, whether they were big or small. So like one of the seniors was in charge of our camp we went to. I'm in charge of after the games, making sure everything gets picked up, nothing's left at the benches, when we leave the field clean. One of our other seniors is in charge of, you know, like being hype and getting us ready before the games. We have people who are in charge of music and just every little thing because there's so many of us to, you know, just put it on it. We do have 3 captains, Chloe Dennison, Sam Conoval, and Bree Thomas. They're the greatest captains out there. You know, they do a really good job of leading us on the field and off the field and are very vocal for all of us. But then, you know, each and every one of us who isn't a captain has a job on the team too. And it's good that our coach did that. It gives us all something to do and no one feels left out.
Let's unpack some of those responsibilities. Start with yours of I'm not surprised that the goalkeeper has to be the one that keeps everything clean and make sure that everything is put away and taken off of that. Is it ever kind of frustrating to, you know, obviously especially your home field, maybe other teams don't do as good of a job as you and you have to go and clean up after them, or maybe it's a long game and you're tired and you're like, dang, you know, I can't believe I have to do this. But what kind of things get you to the point when you buy into that's my job and that's how I lead this team, and that's one of the things that I have to show, like you said, the next year of soccer team that this is something that you have to do. This is one of your responsibilities.
It's really not that bad. You know, you get off the field, we're all sitting in a circle, stretching, taking our gear off and everything. And then when everyone kind of stands up to leave, I'm just like, hey, make sure you pick up all your trash. Don't leave anything. And it's really not me that just goes around and picking it up. Everybody helps out. You know, if someone sees a water bottle, they grab it. There's a piece of paper, they'll pick it up. We have trash cans by our bench. So it's really never that dirty. It's just an occasional like water bottle or a little bit of pre-wrap. So it's not bad at all. And then, you know, sometimes you just walk over, check the away section, but it's really not that bad of a job. I'm a loud person, so our girls can hear me, make sure everything gets picked up.
You got to be right.
If it doesn't get picked up, we have to run it practice. So we're pretty good at keeping it clean.
As a goalkeeper, you got to be loud, right? So it's good that you have that loud voice and you're able to direct people.
Yeah.
I also want to ask about music. You said that there's someone in charge of music. One, who has that responsibility? And two, what's your team's music taste like? What's the playlist for West Branch Girls Soccer?
So Maddie Klingsmith was in charge of creating like our pregame playlist. So she put, I don't even know how many songs are on there, but there's a bunch of just like snippets of songs just that we all like to sing and that get us ready and get us hyped for a game. And then we all kind of collectively, we do like a locker room kind of jam session. So before our game starts, we'll go up to the school, we'll be getting our gear on. We have a big loud speaker, we're playing music, everyone's dancing, singing, just having a good time connecting with each other before we go out on the field and play. But our style of music kind of, it goes everywhere. You know, we have some of the country music, some of the rap, we've had slower songs. Like it's just anything we feel. And, you know, we pass a phone around and you can put a song on that you want to listen to. So everybody gets a little bit of everything.
How much do you think your personal music taste lines up with the rest of your team's music taste?
It's pretty good, honestly. We all kind of hit the same thing. And, you know, you might like a song that someone else doesn't, but they still play it and they just let everybody. It's just fun to be there. Even if you don't like the song, everybody's just so energetic. It's so good to be there.
They're passing the phone around. You get it. It's your turn to pick one song, and this is the one song that'll hype you up and get you in that right mindset. What song are you hitting play for?
I'm a big fan of J. Cole. I do know Role Models a lot. That's normally my go-to, I'd have to say.
Take us through just like the pregame, because like we said, goalies have to be in that right mindset. What do you do mentally to get yourself in the correct mindset before a game starts?
So a lot of the times, you know, like I listen to my own music on the way to the school. I get there, bond with the girls, see how everybody's feeling, see if anybody needs anything. And then we all get out to the field. We all go out together and we get out there and, you know, me and the other goalkeeper, she's a freshman, Audrey Eaton. She's amazing. Love her. She goes over with me. We go down to the goal. We do some passing, some like talking, just getting our arms warmed up. I'm just kind of thinking in my head, okay, who are we playing? Who are their players I need to be ready for that are going to be kind of on my attacking half? And who's quick, who's left footed, you know, just kind of thinking of all the basic stuff you'd need to know. And then our team starts taking shots on me, and that's kind of like go mode. Like I'm ready for the game. There's about 5 or so minutes left, just getting all hyped up and ready for it.
Okay, that answer brought two questions in my mind. One, how much studying do you do on the opponent? Like, how much do you know about the other team, and how much do you know about, you know, this kicker likes to do this, or like you said, this kicker's left-footed?
Yeah.
How much work goes into that for you as a goalie to really know the other team's attackers and know what they're going to bring to you?
I mean, my coaches help out a lot with it. We kind of like, you know, do film days and just talk about what's going on and everything and just who the team is. I don't spend too much time on it because, you know, you can only control so much out on the field and you never know who's going to actually be where. But it's nice to know if someone has a left foot and, you know, if they have someone who's really quick and just small little things to be aware of. And, you know, if you know any little tips or tricks about anybody, but really not too much thought. I just go out there and do what I can do. And my girls help me get it done.
And then the second question is, when your teammates are kicking to you and they're trying to get it past you, who gets the most competitive with you to try to score on their own goalie?
Aubriana Thomas, to be honest. We go rounds. Like she's an amazing help. When I was coming out of injury over the summer, she was going to the field with me and taking shots on me just to get me back in the groove. But I think every warm-up game, she is determined to score on me. Well, she tries her hardest on me.
Talk about the success this West Branch program has had. 9 straight EBC championships. Obviously, your senior class has had 3 in a row, looking for 4 in a row this year. But you've been able to pick up the success of people behind you. You talked about leaving a legacy. How do you think you're going to leave this team to keep that tradition going after you graduate?
I think a lot of it just comes down to us helping them get prepared for what's to come next year and help them grow while we're here, because a lot of us have already, you know, we've went through it all. We've been there. We've been through tough losses, great wins, you know, school history, all that, setting records and everything. But it just is a lot of us connecting with the younger girls and help bring them up and, you know, playing and showing them what it's like and just getting them ready. And I think a lot of them already are ready. And I think they're going to have a good year next year themselves.
Who were some girls in West Branch's past that did that for you? Obviously, with 9 straight EBC championships, they did it 6 years before you even got to the varsity field. So who were some players that you looked up to and kind of gave you the lessons that you now instill to the future West Branch as a senior?
So my freshman year, I was a defender. So I did look up to Lexi Gregory a lot. She was really strong in that defense, and she was just always where she needed to be and stopped some pretty good balls. And then sophomore year, I kind of became a keeper, and Emmy Jones was our keeper at that time. And she kind of helped me get going into it and kind of showed me what to do. But really, just all the upperclassmen throughout the years have just been so kind into encouraging us to play and bringing us up with them and just doing things with us to get us ready.
You talked about coming off the injury and trying to get back to being healthy this year. What was that like? I mean, adversity comes in all different ways, and not every high school athlete has to deal with coming back from an injury. What was it like for you to deal with that and to try to work back to, the goalkeeper that you could be?
It's stressful because right coming off of injury, I had 3 stress fractures in my ankle from track season. So I had to take all of June off, and just through June, it was kind of hard of a mental side of I just felt like I was getting behind and I wasn't keeping up on my fitness because I wasn't allowed to do anything other than ride a bike. But the girls on my team were beyond anything I would have ever thought. A lot of them were there just to sit with me at practice when I couldn't play, or if I was in pain, they were offering to get me things. And when I did come back, they all kind of took it easy on me for a little while to help me get back in my groove. And they were all willing to, hey, if you want to take some shots, like we'll come and take shots on you, or if you need help with like ball handling skills or want to run a little bit, they were just so supportive. And my coaches, I'm beyond thankful for them and being so understanding of, it's kind of a slow process. You have to come back from stress fractures so you don't, get them back again. But my coaches were very like just there for me. They listened. If I said, hey, like I can't do this, it causes some pain, they were no stress. And it's a lot to have an injury, but to come back from it seems even harder because, I run track and I play soccer, and to know like what I could be doing, it's hard to know you can't do that yet. And you just have to work back up to it.
As this interview winds down your senior season, we have to talk about your future goals and what you want to see yourself accomplish after you graduate from West Branch. What are some of your future goals and some of the things that we can see Zoe Sanders doing after she graduates?
I hope to go to college. I'm not sure where yet. I want to move out of Ohio, maybe go south. And I hope to play either soccer or track in college, continue on playing sports and stuff, but just really doing what I can do and doing it the best I can.
So since you haven't narrowed down a where yet, I'm going to ask you a what. Like, what are you looking for? What kind of colleges are you looking for? What kind of majors are you looking for? What kind of things would sway you to pick this college or that college to go to?
A lot of it would just have to be, wanting to play soccer in college would have to be like just the soccer environment, how the team is, if they're friendly, family, if I'm what they're looking for, if they want me. School-wise, I'm not too picky on about like size or location or anything. I just want to find the best fit for me. And my major, I'm undecided, but I have thought about going into the business side of it, but time will tell.
When we talk where, you said it doesn't really matter where, but you already said you want to be out of state. Are you want dramatic travel, or do you just want to make sure you're out of Ohio, somewhere out of Ohio? It doesn't matter what state, as long as it's not Ohio.
I would rather go warmer, a little bit to play in the cold. The snow it's a little much, I've lived here my whole life, but I would rather go south, get a little bit warmer. So if you do have to travel, it's only a cold you're there, but nothing too crazy.
So he's going to be a snowbird, going to Florida in the soccer season, getting warm.
Yeah.
Coming back here for winter every now and then for Christmas break. So before I let you go, I want to give you the chance to kind of thank the support system that you have. I know you have a lot of people behind you, a lot of people that are supporting you. Anyone that you think deserves a shout out to end this interview, I want to give you the time to do that.
Honestly, I would want to thank my parents, for all the time and energy they spend taking me to camps, medical visits, and just always being on my sideline, cheering me on no matter what it is and what I'm doing. I want to thank my coaches for believing in me and, helping me become the keeper I am and constantly pushing me to be better. And then, of course, my teammates, this freshman group that came up, they've really just added to our team and brought some life to it. And then these senior girls, I wouldn't want to be a senior with anyone else. They've been there, done that. We've all been together. They're just a great group, and I'm so thankful for them. And then just all my family who just comes and supports me and just has my back.
All right, Zoe, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us and talking about this great West Branch soccer team that is going on right now. And the success that they're having is remarkable. So we thank you for coming on and being a little bit of a highlight of it. And we wish you the best of luck the rest of your senior season. And we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much.
That was Zoe Sanders from West Branch Girls Soccer, the goalie, the expert. Probably, you could argue now, the best goalie in West Branch program history with the career shutout record set at 20 and counting, because she's still got the rest of this season, and West Branch has plenty of opportunities to shut out more opponents. They are actually playing, I believe, Louisville tonight to continue their season. West Branch looking to punch a ticket into regionals this year. They're going to have to get past Canfield to do it, but Zoe Sanders is going to be a big reason why they do, if they do indeed do it. Last year, looking at Zoe's stats, they only gave up 11 goals total last season as a West Branch program. Makes you really appreciate 11 goals in a whole season when you have 20 plus games under your belt. You're really doing something right. You're really doing something right. So 20 career shutouts. That was a great interview too. Zoe Sanders, can't wait to see what the rest of her season brings. What a big senior class, 11 seniors on that West Branch girls soccer team. So they're going to have a lot of shoes to fill, but Coach Fico has been there, done that too, and she'll have that program, I'm sure, humming as it has been for the last 10 years. What a great interview. Thank you once again for Zoe Sanders and Coach Fico for setting that up. Let's preview tonight's action before we get out of here. Let's go into the scoreboard again, which is brought to you by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Let's bring it up. And let's shift from Saturday and go into today. See what we have on the slate. Today is Monday, and it is September 18th. Once again, want to thank Burnett Pool, Spas, and Hot Tubs for the sponsorship of the YSN scoreboard. What a tool this is for YSN fans. If they want to see a score while they're at a game or they're watching one of our broadcasts and they don't want to leave the screen for too long, ysnlive.com/scores is where you can go to quickly find out how these teams are doing, and it is live updated every night. We go into volleyball tonight. Warren Harding going to be at Ursuline, a big one for the Irish as they try to bounce back from last week's loss to Austintown Fitch. Salem hosts Field. They have their first win of the year. Can the Quakers build that momentum and keep going? Edgewood going to be hosting Grand Valley tonight. We have Jackson Milton. They're going to be going to Hubbard in a non-conference battle. Cardinal Mooney goes to Liberty as the Cardinals and the Leopards fight for win number 6. They're both 5-win teams on the season. Canfield will try to get things going. They have a tough task. They'll go to 10-1 Lakeview. Canfield coming off a game where they had, quite frankly, too many errors, and they want to clean things up. If they lose tonight, they at least hope that they're a clean loss and they can walk away saying that we lost because they were the better team, not because we gave them a lot of points. Western Reserve will go a non-conference and host Struthers tonight as they try to bounce back from their loss to the next team, which Middle Ridge, I'll give them all the credit in the world. They are not shying away from their schedule. They've played Smithville already, a Division III powerhouse in the Barberton region. Now they're playing Crestview. You know, if they, after tonight, they'll play 2 of the 4 teams that I believe are going to be in Barberton for the Division IV regionals. They've already played Crestview, and they've already played Smithville. So they're really putting up a measuring stick. Middle Ridge was finished off a 4-0 week last week with wins over Fitch, Springfield, Western Reserve, and West Branch. All of those teams had at least 6 wins because Springfield was 6 wins, but Fitch had 8. West Branch had 9. Western Reserve had 10. So they beat 4 really good volleyball teams last week. They're going to try their best to shock the world and take down Crestview. This is a battle between number 2 and number 6 in the newly updated power rankings for the week. East Palestine will go to Heartland Christian tonight. Maplewood goes to Ashtabula St. John. McDonald goes to Brookfield. Poland tries to get a win on the season. They only have one, trying to get win number 2. They go to United. Valley Christian goes to East. And Wyndham goes to Pymatuning Valley. Let's go to the girls' soccer tonight. Plenty of action here, too. Garrettsville Garfield will go to Waterloo in MVAC play. Conference play for Hubbard as they travel to Struthers. Newton Falls goes to Crestview. Warren Harding will travel to Howland in the AAC. Canfield goes to Boardman. East Liverpool goes to Beaver Local. Brookfield will travel to Champion. And Marlington will go to Ursuline. Boys soccer side, Middle Ridge hosting Liberty tonight. Brookfield going to Champion as a boys-girls doubleheader. Boys will be at 5, girls will be at 7. And then Salem boys are going to Carrollton. That is a 6 o'clock kickoff there. Now that we have all the games squared up, let's tell you what will be on the network tonight and who will be on the call so you can be squared away with what to watch on YSN tonight. We'll have 3 volleyball games on the network. Jackson, Milton, and Hubbard will be covered by Zach Svensson. I will be in Middle Ridge for Crestview coming to town in Ram Country. And Ty Bartell will be in Western Reserve as Struthers comes to town. Girls soccer will have 3 games on the network. CJ Bako will be in Champion for that doubleheader, so he'll have the boys game and the girls game. Matt Marr and Jordan Barber will be in Boardman for Canfield Boardman on the soccer pitch. And then Gary Burton going to be covering East Liverpool and Beaver Local, the big rivalry on the girls' side. Blue versus red. And then the boys' game, of course, we already said Brookfield versus Champion at 5 o'clock. CJ Bako will have the call there. Should be a fun night. All 3 sports are in action, and that's always good to see. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point as well. We want to thank Zoe Sanders for her time being able to do that interview. We'll have another exciting edition of Running Point tomorrow. We're going to have Luke Davis come on the show live, talk to us a little bit about local soccer. He's one of our soccer experts, been doing a couple of soccer games. He's going to come on the show live tomorrow. We'll talk soccer. We'll talk all these teams as they gear up for the second half of the season and they try to sharpen their tools for tournament time. So he'll be on the show tomorrow live. We'll also have a couple of player profiles that we can play. We'll recap tonight's action. We'll preview tomorrow night's action. That is all what to look ahead for on Running Point tomorrow from 1 to 2. Don't miss it. It's going to be a fun show. I promise you that. For Anthony Hartwig, that'll do it today, though. Thank you so much for tuning in to Running Point. Brought to you, as always, by